Yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite hosts, Eric and Ron.
Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded, episode 14. Bringing back the old school there. I love it.
Yeah, and we got Kenny to pose as that football player. That was pretty
Yeah.
awesome. He's
Back
such
in
a
our-
good sport.
Back in our studio days before all this COVID stuff. So we've got a ton to unfold today. Episode 14 of season 2 is not disappointed as the sports world continues to amaze us each and every week. We cover all the top stories that are going on this week and cover some of our local teams in the New England area. So we're
Including
going to
4-hour baseball games.
Yes. Just about finished. I didn't think we'd get it in before the start of this show.
Yeah, I know.
So our leadoff story is on Tiger Woods. So he has made his return to the Masters. Yesterday was a shot 1 under par in the first round. Today was not so good so far. Again, it was still going on as we came on air here. But he was a +4 today. So a +3 overall, unless some things have changed in the last half hour or so. But overall, I just wanted to talk about what you felt about him making this return. Thinking about where he's been 500 plus days since his last competitive competition. And then also the 400 plus days since the car accident.
Yeah, well, it's been a hard road for him to get back. But, all the fans are glued to that TV, watching him play. And, he's going to get a lot of time on, camera because, after all, he is their number one draw, no matter if he's past his prime or not. There's always a chance for Tiger to win. That there will always be a chance of that. Whether he does or not, it doesn't even matter for the golf fan. They just want to see Tiger play.
Yeah, look, I think when we start talking about comeback stories and what people are able to come back from, he's had several different situations. We could talk about the personal stuff that he's had to endure and come back from, obviously self-inflicted. The back injuries that obviously could have derailed his career and probably have actually hurt him from becoming the all-time winner when it comes to Masters.
Yeah.
Or majors, sorry. But the fact that he came back from this when nobody expected him to even get back on the golf course is pretty amazing. I was glued to the TV all day yesterday, just every time they showed a highlight, just to watch how he walked, how he was able to just kind of grind through that process, because that was the biggest process in this whole scenario was he going to be able to walk these courses and be able to do it for 4 rounds?
Yeah.
And you saw it yesterday. You didn't see him really favoring the leg or unable to walk. He can still golf. We know he can still golf. It's the physical part of golf that, again, they can't use carts. It's not allowed with PGA rule. He has to walk these courses. The question was, how was he going to rebound from round 1? You saw a little bit of it today where, again, he's probably more tired. The leg probably bothers him more. Now it's 2 straight days of 18 holes. But he's still being competitive. He's still in the running to actually be in this Masters tournament, which is amazing.
Right. Look, I mean, he could turn it around at any point too. So, all he has to do is hit his putts, drive the ball, and let his natural ability take over. And, he just has to maintain through, the pain at times. And, that's always going to be there for the rest of his career, to be honest with you. You know, it's no different than playing any other sport. I mean, the wear and tear, it's always going to be there.
Yeah, and again, golf is so predicated on movement of your body having the same motions. So when the
Yeah.
back injury, he had to learn how to hit differently. And now you see the same thing with the leg. He can't put as much force or power into it. Now he has to play smart golf. I think
Yeah.
this might be an advantage to him because, again, he's played in so many tournaments in his career and was so successful. He knows these courses. He knows the
Right.
Masters better than probably just about anybody that's playing it now because he's done it for 20 plus years.
Right.
So you can't, if he can just golf and is able to withstand the pain of having to walk through these golf courses, we could see more of Tiger Woods than we thought we would actually see.
Yeah, I mean, look, nothing would surprise me with Tiger, what he can do. He is, arguably the best to ever play. I mean, there might be a couple others that people will argue, whether or not he's better than them. But, I mean, all in all, when you look at the field, he's better than all of those guys. Maybe not right now.
No.
But as a career, he's
what
better.
he's accomplished. Yeah, absolutely. And look, the one reference I did like during the whole Masters, they talked about Ben Hogan and how he had a similar car accident and wasn't sure, and he was able to come back. And Tiger's being talked about as legends now, not as a current PGA player. You're talking about Jack with Tiger, Ben Hogan with Tiger. Like, we're watching a living legend of golf. Arnold Palmer. Like, well, that's what we're watching.
I mean, that's the four names. That's the
Mount
Rushmore of golf, right? I mean, that's what we're really saying. I mean, there's only a select few that you can even put in the conversation.
And I would say this, Ron, and then we'll move on. But think about what we're experiencing now in sports. We're watching probably the greatest quarterback to ever play.
Yep.
And we're not talking about a short amount of time. We've been able to watch this for 20 plus years. Tiger for 20 plus years. I know how you feel about LeBron, but you can say he's one of the best basketball players of all time. And we've got to watch him for almost 20 years. Like, we're watching guys that we would not, anybody else we could say, look, we're so fortunate
Alex
to be able to
Ovechkin also.
Ovechkin, right? And about breaking, right? He might break Gretzky's record. We've seen some of the greatest players of all time. When you talk about Gretzky and Jordan, you know what I mean? And all these.
Yeah, I kind of feel spoiled myself because I've gone even further back and seen some of those players.
Right?
Like Wayne Gretzky. Even Bobby Orr. I saw at the tail end. I feel like blessed that I get to see all these greats.
It's amazing to
me.
That.
I can't imagine. Not have ever seen Magic Johnson play. I can't. It's insane to me. You're talking. In baseball, that home run by Carlton Fisk. Like that's a staple in sports, and I got to see a lot of that. Yeah, that was hurtful. That's hurtful.
but again, we've.
But I know, yeah.
Yeah, we've got to see some great moments. Now you're watching a living legend, and it's not even if he wins. If he wins, that's just the icing on the cake. The fact that you're watching this guy and knowing that he's one of the best to ever do it, it just makes it so much more enjoyable. I don't watch a lot of golf. I watch when Tiger plays.
And you get to see him play, and whether it's now or 15 years ago, it's something you really should see, and that makes for the talks of who the best is, right? Like anybody that just sees LeBron James play and hasn't seen Magic and Michael, I'd say their names like I know them, right?
Best friends. They were at your house yesterday, were they not?
But like those people that have only seen LeBron play and didn't see Michael play, like you can't argue that he's the best ever.
Yeah,
you can't, because only people that have seen these players, can really make a strong statement because they've seen them play and they've seen the competition against them. And I'm not saying LeBron hasn't had great competition, because the athletes today are way better in general. but the game was better back then.
Yeah, agreed. And again, I'm not saying LeBron's the greatest. I'm just saying we're
No,
watching a
no,
great athlete. If you think about what he's accomplished in the sport,
right,
and it's the same thing with Tiger, same thing with Tom Brady. You know,
right.
you're seeing Ovechkin. You're seeing guys now that when we said records that couldn't be broken are being
Yeah,
broken. You know, LeBron's probably going to be the all-time scoring leader in the NBA. We
yeah. I
got
mean, I think he only needs one more year under
yeah,
his belt,
right.
and that's probably going to be it.
Tom Brady. Nobody else is going to ever win as many Super Bowls. Like we've seen it.
No,
We
I
witnessed it,
find that hard to believe.
right? So you're
I still
watching these
I
things.
can't believe it, and I've seen it.
You know,
You know what I'm
Ovechkin,
saying?
I never thought Gretzky's record would be broken, and Ovechkin may break it. And it's
Yeah.
like those are the things we never expected to see, and we're getting to witness that, which is just it makes sports so much more fun. So
Yeah.
let's move on to some NFL. Let's talk about our New England Patriots, who have made a big move.
And
They
don't
traded
forget
for
to say hi to our viewers out there.
Kenny. Kenny, thank you for joining, my
Chakra.
friend. Chakra, thanks for joining. Guys are always one of our most loyal. We appreciate it. Kenny obviously is one of our Sports Unfolded co-hosts on the NBA ranking show, and he did the baseball preview show. So we're going to put up that picture of Devontae Parker, who is now a New England Patriot. Still got that old yucky jersey. We'll call it yucky jersey on right now. But he is now going to be a New England Patriot. How do you feel this move helps the team?
Well, it gives him an option that Algalo was supposed to fill and didn't. So I like the pickup. It didn't cost him much, you know.
Yeah, a couple second and third round draft picks, I think.
Yeah,
it was.
you know, I mean, it was a good value for a guy that has talent and is ready to bust out.
So my fear is this. Look, so in 7 years, 338 receptions, 4,727 yards, 24 touchdowns, almost 14 yards a reception. So you talk about what New England doesn't do well or hasn't been able to do is the deep ball. He adds that element.
Right.
Problem is he has not played a full season his entire career. He's been in the league for 7 years now, has not played a full season. His best season, 2019, he played 14 games, 72 receptions, 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns, 16.7 yards per reception. If we can get that, Devontae Parker, does that not change us immensely?
Oh,
That's
absolutely. So here's the thing, you know. When was the last time we plucked a receiver from Miami?
Wes Welker.
Right. And Bill went to the well for the second time. And, you know, it's like he's picking his spots. It's like, okay, there's this receiver, Parker, sitting in Miami, not getting the playing time that he probably needs to get to show what he can do. They got a guy throwing the ball that can't really throw it deep. So he's basically going to waste there. And then they pick up Tyreek Hill, and now he's completely useless there. So this was an opportunity for Bill to take another chance on a Miami receiver, making the deal. And, you know, and he's hoping that I'm willing to bet he's hoping he can get like 800 yards for the Patriots. Because look, if he gets 800 yards for the Patriots, that is pretty good because if you're still counting the other players with those yards, that's a big addition. And he might even give him more.
I liked what Kendrick Bourne did.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jacoby Myers, steady and reliable. Aguilar was a disappointment, but if he can come back, he's on the last year of the deal, so he may perform better. That seems to be his MO, is when his contract's about to be up, he has a really good year. If you can get him, Parker,
and frankly, he has the skills. He has the skills to do it. It's just wanting it.
Yeah.
I think it's really wanting it. You know?
I'm excited about it. I thought this, to your point, great move because it was cheap. They didn't really have to give up much. And I liked it for the draft purpose because everybody was talking about maybe a first-round draft pick at wide receiver. We know New England doesn't do well drafting wide receivers in the first round, which means N'Keal Harry's probably gone with this move, by the way. But we could also say now that if the kid in Alabama is available in the second round, Williamson, after that injury and people thinking he's going to slip a little bit, now it's not as bad in the second round for him, and you get a need in the first round now instead of wasting it on a wide receiver.
Right. Like, we've talked about it already. They need a linebacker. They need help on that defensive back. So they need a cornerback. There are going to be cornerbacks there that are really good. I don't know if there'll be a linebacker there that would fit, at that spot where they're drafting. A little higher there is, obviously. But if you pick a linebacker at that spot, it would be over, it'd be over the worth of that linebacker. So in that spot in the first round, I really think they should go cornerback there. Unless, one of those linebackers that are, top tier, that should go probably in the top 10 slip down because now there's teams like jockeying for quarterbacks that are up there now. And, they're going to overvalue those quarterbacks, and boy, are they in for a surprise.
So let's talk about another story in the NFL, and just does not seem to be going away, and that's the Brian Flores lawsuit. So Flores filed a lawsuit of discrimination against the NFL, and now two other coaches have joined in that suit. First, Steve Wilkes, former Arizona head coach. He went 3-13 his first year with the team, got fired right after that first year for Cliff Kingsbury, who obviously has been successful with the team, at least getting them to the playoffs. But Wilkes is alleging that he was just a bridge quarterback, that they had no intention of keeping him. Obviously made a lot of moves after he got fired to get, Kyler Murray versus Josh Rosen, who we know Rosen now. I don't even know what team he's on because he's been on like 4 teams since. What do you feel about, first of all, those allegations by Wilkes?
I think he's got, a leg to stand on with that, Look, I think this lawsuit shouldn't go away because I think Flores definitely has a gripe and Wilkes has a pretty good gripe. I mean, you can't give him a crap team and have him fail and then get, top picks and then get rid of them
next year again.
It's like it's just wrong the way some of these teams are doing business. And I gave props to Pittsburgh for hiring Flores. I mean, he's overqualified for that job, and but at least they offered, because they weren't going to obviously have a head coach position open, but and I think Mike Tomlin really wanted him to come on, and they didn't have a position that was really, proper to give him. So they basically brought him in, and this could be one of those things where, it's a placeholder for Flores to stay in, the NFL because they feel that he's doing the right thing. So I give Pittsburgh a lot of credit for this.
I would say this. Look, the Rooney Rule came from Pittsburgh.
Right.
If you look at that organization and what they've been able to continue to do when it comes to coaches of different ethnicities and making them, they've got one of the highest coaches in the league. When you talk about Tomlin, what he's been able to accomplish, that was a bold move back in the day when they did that. He's been there quite some time.
The only thing we get on Pittsburgh for is not keeping their talent. And
he still wins without it.
And he still wins.
Right? He's a great coach.
Still wins.
What about Ray Horton, who he was the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator from 2014-15. He was interviewed for the head coaching job in 2016. Mike Mularkey, who was hired by the team, basically stated in an interview on a podcast in 2020 that he had already been told that he had the job, that they just had to fulfill the Rooney Rule and make sure that they interviewed some some other candidates. Ray Horton being one of those candidates, who is obviously a black defensive coordinator at the time.
Yeah,
This one to me stings even more.
yeah, that one's pretty bad because it kind of resembles the ball thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, there's a lot of similarities between those two things, and frankly, I think both of those stink. And I think Horton has a very good gripe. Like he might have the best of all.
So,
Like that's
the thing with the NFL is they're starting to tread water that is honestly starting to become a major, I would say, mark on their whole organization. When you talk
yeah,
about now, there's 6 attorney generals who are filing claims against the NFL for discrimination against women as well, and
yeah,
how these teams have handled how they've treated women,
yeah.
how discrimination with women as well. Now you have this Flores lawsuit as well, based on discrimination. These are a bunch of white billionaires who
Yep.
feel like they can do whatever they want because they own these teams. And us in society don't have those same options. And now it's finally, hopefully, catching up to some of these owners where they realize, look, it's not just about those guys on the field and I can pay them millions, but they're going to do what I want them to do. It's
Look,
also about what
you
you do
can
in
look
your
right
organization.
into Washington itself.
Yeah, Dan Snyder's a joke of an owner.
You know, I mean, all you have to do look squarely in Washington, right in their backyard. All these lawmakers, right in their backyard, and you know, it gets brushed aside.
Yeah, Schneider
You
has
know,
insiders in the White House or in Congress. They said it was so he knows people,
yeah,
and that's the reason why a lot of this stuff hasn't been brought to light. And
right,
to me, that's wrong.
right, and this is why the whole thing with Gruden could end up blowing up. You know, on the NFL, and I think if there's one thing that's going to happen, that is going to cause the chain reaction. You know, between
If
what
Gruden was
happened with
smart,
him and then this lawsuit too.
if
It's going
Gruden
to
was
just be a
smart,
chain.
and if Gruden's attorneys were smart, as much as I understand that what some of his emails were derogatory
Right.
and had some racial undertones as well, but
Right.
I would try to partner with them, with Flores in that group, and say, look, I got discriminated against because I'm not an owner.
Yeah.
And they hit all this stuff that the owners were doing.
Yep.
And basically blackballed me.
And let me tell you, I am sure that the lawyers for Flores case has already reached out and probably are looking into some of the details of that. You know, because any kind of dirt that you can get is going to help.
And look,
And there's a
gonna be
lot
more
of dirt
coaches.
there.
There's going to be more coaches coming.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
telling you. And
Absolutely.
some of these guys don't want to ruffle feathers because they want to keep their jobs or have an opportunity. But as they start to see more guys start to come out of the woodworks, I'm sure we're gonna hear more of these stories. And it's sad. It is honestly sad.
Yeah. Like we're gonna look to see what happens with Tampa Bay. You know, because there's coaches there that should have jobs. You know, and we're very good candidates.
We talked about how the NFL tries to sweep everything under the rug,
Yep.
and they did it in Tampa Bay.
Yep.
You know, you see a coach retire, you hire a black coach. I just felt like, look, I felt like they're trying to undermine these coaches and their legitimate.
That was a placement. You know, to appease that lawsuit.
Yeah.
And at the end of the season, we're going to see what happens to those coaches.
Let's see. Let's move on to our triple play. In our triple play this week, we decided to rank some of the top tight ends in the NFL, who we would start, who we would bench, and who would we cut. And the players are Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, and George Kittle. So all three very talented tight ends. Tight ends don't get enough love in the NFL, so we said let's give them some love this week. So we are deciding who we start, bench, and cut. I am first this week, so I will go. And I am starting Travis Kelce. He's been in the league 9 years, 704 receptions, 9,006 yards receiving 57 touchdowns. Consistent. Has not really missed much time. I understand the offense he's in, but this guy, to me, once Grunk was not Grunk anymore, he was that guy. He was that tight end. Fast, able to block, but able to receive. So I would go with Kelsey. I benched Mark Andrews. He's been in the league 4 years, 263 receptions, 3,466 yards, 29 touchdowns. But he's been very consistent the last couple of years and healthy. He's on the field for me. So if Kelsey went down, I know Mark Andrews is there to back him up. I wouldn't be worried about it, which means I cut Kittle. Kittle's a very good talent, 335 yards receptions, 4,489 yards receiving, 20 touchdowns in 5 years, but he has missed a significant amount of time. I feel like he's as good as he is. His numbers would have been much better if he could stay healthy. So ultimately, I don't want a guy that I can't depend on to be on the field every week. That's how I got it.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I had it. I had, of course, Kelsey. I think he is the elite of the league. Like, there isn't somebody that is going to do an all-around job like Kelsey does. And I think this year you're going to see it more into play, now that, receivers have left that system.
They're adding a lot of receivers, but none of them are Tyreek Hill. So
No. And I think you're going to see Kelsey do even more. If that's hard to believe, he's going to do more. And I, of course, did bench Andrews. It was tough because I think Kittle might be as good as Kelsey.
Yeah, agreed.
But injuries. You can't have a guy that never plays. You can't have it. Like, what's the point?
It's not beneficial.
If he's always going to be injured, then it's not going to help the team. So, therefore, Andrews is on the bench, and I cut Kittle. And it's sad because Kittle's a great tight end when he's available.
Yeah. And think about his quarterback, Jimmy G, who's not that great, and he was still putting up numbers.
I know.
Kelsey's got Mahomes and Andrews, Lamar Jackson. But if you think about what Lamar does, when he scrambles, basically creates guys to get open.
He's got Lamar for at least one more year.
Yeah, at least for now.
Yep.
So let's move on to the NBA. And as our baseball show went, and you wanted to go on a rant about the Boston Red Sox, I implore you to allow me to rant this week about the Boston Celtics. Because the Boston Celtics lost to the Milwaukee Bucks last night. But that's not the story.
Nope.
The fact that they sat Jason Tatum and Al Horford in a game that could have ultimately clinched the number 2 seed in the East made no sense to me because they were saying it's a back-to-back. Jason Tatum's 25 years old. Al Horford, maybe I would understand a little bit. But at this point in time in the season, sitting a guy to move into third place, and the reason why I felt they did this move, and it's absolutely pissing me off, and I can't even say it any other way, is because they're trying the seeding. They're trying to avoid Brooklyn. So now they face Chicago. It's almost a lock that they got Chicago as the 3-6 matchup, which is a much easier matchup. Agreed, they should win. Rob Williams should be back for the second round. So now it all kind of lines up for them. But to me, play the games to win. You don't play games to lose. That I don't understand that.
No, it pisses me off.
Right? And they played to lose last night.
Yep.
And I don't understand. So you don't face Brooklyn in the first round. So what happens if you're in the East Conference Finals?
Look,
and
Eric,
Brooklyn's there. What do you do? Just quit?
I turned on the game to watch the game, and then all of a sudden, wait, Tatum is not playing? Click.
Knee injury.
It already told me that they did not want to win the game. It already told me.
And it was a great game. Everybody that played well, played hard, but you could tell they were on demand.
Yeah.
And Milwaukee didn't sit anybody. Milwaukee didn't take this as, we didn't need to get to the 2 seed. You play to win. You play to win, and then whatever's in front of you, you try to beat.
Yeah.
And to me, if you were a true championship caliber team or felt you were a true championship caliber team, you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have sat your star player in a game that you knew you had to win.
Right.
LeBron, when they had to win a game to try to stay in that playoff spot, everybody criticized him because he sat.
Yeah.
And now Boston did the same thing.
Yeah. But the ones that get the heat is Tatum and Horford. They're going to get the heat for it because they didn't play. And it's like, why didn't you play? You should have said, put me in. And I don't know, but, it gives a bad look for that player. Like, put them in. They want to play. They're paid to play. They're paid to win. Yeah, like the Bruins tonight, they go against Tampa Bay. Okay, they're going to be without Pasternak. That's already out there. They're going to be without him because he's injured. If he could skate, he'd be out there. Lindholm is a game-time decision. He wants to be out there. So if he can go, he's going. They want to beat Tampa Bay. They're not looking to see, if we lose this game, then we can play this team. No, they don't. They want to win every game. That's what they do. And that is the Boston Bruins organization saying, hey, you know what? It's not just the Patriots way. This is our way. And the Celtics are saying the complete opposite. Complete opposite. So, we're going to try to avoid Brooklyn and so we can, get an easier thing. No. If you're playing to get an easier road to the championship, you're not a championship team, period.
Because you're eventually going to face a team that, guess what, is pretty tough.
Right. You should have confidence in your ability as a team to beat anybody out there. The Bruins think so. They think they can beat everybody.
Yeah. I one of my buddies texted me and he's like, oh, I'm excited. I'm like, they're saying Tatum and Horford. I said, I'm not even interested.
Yeah.
I'm not even interested. And even though the game was close and I was watching it, I didn't expect them to win that game. If they won that game, they got a gift. It was more of a, wow, Milwaukee really choked.
Yeah.
Not that Boston played well. It's Milwaukee just didn't play a good game. I don't understand it. And listen, Chicago, as much as we think it's an easy seed, anybody can be beaten any given time. So you play whoever you got to play. To me, Brooklyn's more of a mess.
Yeah.
They're more of a mess right now. I would have rather faced Brooklyn.
Exactly. And that's what everybody's saying. It's like, why are you trying to, manipulate the seeding? Because you're only asking for it. Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. And they would have played possibly 2 extra games while you're sitting rest. So now you're resting. You got Brooklyn plays 2 extra games. So now they go into this game the next day and they're tired. They've had to probably play a back-to-back. It's an advantage for you.
Yeah. Yep.
But let's talk about this next gentleman we're going to bring up on the screen who should be the MVP of the NBA this season.
This guy is just amazing.
And that's
it's weird too, because Eric, I look at the player, and like when you just look at him, he just looks clumsy, flopping, running up and down the court. I mean, he just looks awkward. This guy's the best player right now in the league.
It's unreal. So he's the first player ever to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists in a season.
That's incredible.
So what he's been able to do for Denver, I mean, is just remarkable when you talk about the guys that they haven't had, with Murray being out for the entire season, Michael Porter Jr. being out for the entire season, and they're still winning. They're in the playoffs. He's been such a integral part of them being successful for the last few years. So what I tried to do is, I'm going to ask you this question. I did odds in Vegas, which we don't normally do any gambling in this show, but I said this would be fun for this conversation. So in Vegas, Joel Embiid is actually a plus 145. He's the leader currently to win the MVP. Would you give Embiid the nod over Jokic?
No.
Right? So we think about the two teams, the talent that Philly has, what they were able to accomplish, and then completely fell apart.
When you look at that, I can see Embiid being able to do that and get MVP. But how many players are in the top, I don't know, 4 or 5 in scoring, rebounds, and assists. How many guys? One. There's only one, and that's that gentleman.
Yeah,
You know,
Jokic. I mean, he's
like
just unreal.
he is a complete player. He can do it all. And when you look at the team itself, it's like nothing really like comes at you glaring like, oh my god, they just have a stacked team. These are all guys that work hard and play well together. This team, you get one of those guys that are going to be free agents at the end of the year, and none of them should come from the Lakers. You get one of those great players that are going to be free agents. Not necessarily great; they have to be good. You pluck one of them and put them in Denver. Denver wins a championship.
So I looked at a couple of things with Joel Embiid leading the league in scoring is kind of what is keeping him afloat in this MVP race. He's at 30.4 points, 11.6 assists, 4.2 assists. Jokic is at 27.1, 13.8 rebounds, and 7.9 assists. So you think about it, he's almost averaging a triple-double.
Yeah.
He's having a better season than he did last year when he won the MVP.
Right.
And then they got Giannis as a third at a plus 390.
Yep.
I like what Giannis is doing, but I felt like it was too late. He came on too late in this process. Jokic has been doing this the entire season.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
the most consistent of probably anybody in the league.
Yeah, no, and look, I love the guy because I think to you, if you saw him anywhere, just walking around, you'd kind of be like, oh, that's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't have that basketball look.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. He looks like a sort of like a not so muscular tight end.
Right, something. There's just something about him. It's pretty funny.
Just a regular guy, and it's like, when you look at Luka, he has that same look about him, and they're very similar in players too. And I just think Jokic just sees everything. He just sees everything. Like you talk about players that know what's going on around the court. Like we talk about Gretzky, how he saw everything on the ice, like he had a 360-degree angle on everything. And you think like that with Michael and Magic, players like that, Larry Bird, all of those great players, like they know what's going on around them without even having to look at them. And that to me is what Jokic has. Like he just sees everything, and then he can actually, in his mind, put it out 5 seconds fast forward, so he knows what the play is going to develop into.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees ahead. It's uncanny. When you watch him play, it's like, then he does, whatever the pass,
Yeah, and no look. Luka's style
he just
too.
sees it. He sees it, and he processes it ahead of time, all in that split second. And before you can think of what's going to happen, it's already happened, and it's too late.
No, he's a great player. I'm excited about the NBA playoffs because of so many of these guys. It's just going to be fun to watch.
This might be the best playoffs in history because I'm looking at the teams in this, and even taking away the play-ins, there are some of those teams that are playing really good basketball, like the Cleveland Cavs, and Minnesota. Like those are teams that, okay, we didn't expect that, and yet they're good. And the amount of quality teams that are going to be in the playoffs this year, it's going to be fantastic. Yeah. It's going to be similar to how the NFL was.
Yeah, very tough to pick. Very tough to pick. Let's talk about some baseball, my friend. Major League Baseball is back. We're going to start off. We're gonna start off with some Ohtani here. So Shohei Ohtani was the first player in MLB history to throw the first pitch for his team and also be the first player to hit for his team in the same game on opening day. Do you feel like this is the new trend or future for baseball?
I don't know. I mean, Otani is just a special player. Um, and I'm kind of, like looking at it, I know we had this discussion, and I don't think I actually was in favor of that rule for Otani to stay in a game. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, he is a special player. And I think in this case, I think they needed to do that because, look, the game is sometimes, I'll just say a lot of times, excruciating to watch.
I mean, it was only 4 hours and change today.
Yeah, and that's a problem. So to compensate for that crap, having Otani in there gives the fans something to see.
Yeah.
And and they saw history today or yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say this. I think it's becoming more of the future because if you look at what Major League Baseball is starting to do is a lot of these players are coming from Japan.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys do that in Japan. They pitch and hit.
Yep.
And hit consistently. It's not like Major League Baseball pitches when they were hitting. Now that they don't have to do that, we're blessed with that fact that we got guys that could actually swing a bat. But you're starting to see these players come over from Japan, and I think
they play a complete game.
Yeah, you're going to get guys that are going to be able to do this more consistently.
So a funny story came in from the Cubs, I believe it was.
Yeah,
the Cubs and Milwaukee game.
Suzuki.
Robertson.
Okay. Yeah.
Signed over there, and he's like, I finally got to go pitch in the National League, and I wanted to get it. He went 684 games or innings or whatever it was played, and he didn't get a chance to bat. He signs over there, and they changed the rule on him. So he's like all upset that he didn't get to bat now. I just thought it was kind of funny because he wanted to go up to the plate.
What's the odds, right? What was the odds of that?
Yeah,
Let's talk about another superstar in Major League Baseball. We're going to bring him up on the screen here and discuss the New York Yankees and Aaron Judge situation where they were unable to reach a long-term deal. Do you feel like the Yankees made the right move? So basically we're hearing an 8-year deal, about $230 million. $30 million a year for 7 years, and then they were going to factor in an arbitration for about $17 million. He's 29 years old. He's batted .276 in his career with 158 home runs and 366 RBIs in 6 years. I know you're a Red Sox fan, so I'm asking you to not be biased with this conversation, but is this the right move for the New York Yankees?
Look, we talked about this a little before the show, and I'm actually absolutely upset that, you got New York squabbling over this guy's contract, and you have the Red Sox basically sticking a knife in back of Bogarts for the stunt they pulled, getting Story, whose batting average was .241 outside of Coors Field. And you sign him on to play second base this year, and he's like, "Oh, I'll be playing second base this year."
Was he 0 for 4 today? 0 for 4, I think.
He was 0 for something.
Yeah.
He did nothing.
Now, look, at the end of the day,
look, these two teams, the Yankees, Red Sox, they're 2 of 3 teams that I said that has caused all of this mess in baseball. Them and the Dodgers. They keep paying people, and now they don't want to pay luxury tax because they keep doing all this stuff. So now they don't want to pay, a guy like Judge what he's worth on the market value. Like, tell me, would you rather have Judge or would you rather have Harper?
I'd keep Judge in New York.
Absolutely. This is what I'm saying. I think Judge is a hell of a player. Yeah, he strikes a lot, but not like Giancarlo, Yeah. Stanton was ridiculous.
Another
he goes 1 for 5 and 4 strikeouts. But Judge is a better player.
The fact that they intentionally walked Rizzo today to get to Stanton goes to show you how much confidence they have that Stanton is going to hit the ball.
Right.
Boston knew, and this
know.
is the thing with Judge. is a completely different player. The guy steps up in big moments.
Yeah.
I
The Red
feel
Sox
like
just
they're-
ran out of arms today. You know,
Yeah.
they went
But how
down
do you-
to a couple of new guys and they didn't do it.
And I'm starting to see the light with what you said with Bogarts. Like you had a guy in your system already.
Right.
And so you're trying to pay Devers. You paid Story. Why not just pay Bogarts
Yeah.
and not
And
sign Story?
Devers turned down the
Yeah,
contract.
both of these
And
guys are.
look, tell me that Devers and Bogarts aren't best friends. They are best friends in that dugout. You know, they are always together. Always. You know, and you don't think Bogarts feels slighted about them signing Story? Absolutely. And you don't think Devers thinks that? Absolutely. This is why Devers turned down the what, 250 million?
Yeah. So look, both of these guys know, as we used to sit there and go, okay, there's only certain teams that are going to be able to sign him to that
Right.
contract. You're starting to see that change. You saw Carlos Correa sign with Minnesota.
Yeah.
It might be a little less of a deal, but guess what? You're going to get paid a good amount of money up front. And then in 3 years, you're able to sign somewhere else for even big money again. So
Right.
you're getting your money, maybe just not as a 8-year deal. It might be a 3-year deal.
Right. And you're
These
still
guys
going
are
to
starting
be
see
in
what the
prime.
league's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the league's seeing this. They're seeing this. So a guy like Devers, a guy like Judge, they're like, look, if we got to sign a 3-year deal to go to, you know what I mean, wherever.
Yeah. Oh,
Give me a
Devers, Bogarts are not going to have a
Arizona.
hard time finding a
You don't think
spot.
these guys won't go to Arizona if Arizona gives them, 150 million for 3 years? Of course they would.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then they move on. And these teams got to start to learn.
You know, there's more than just 3 markets. You know, look at Chicago. Chicago's a big market.
Yeah.
And they are dying for a championship over in Chicago White Sox territory. And look, Chicago Cubs, I think they look pretty good. You know, they look pretty good. They have some talent on that team. So if they are like one hitter away, why not sign a Devers? Why not pluck, Bogarts from the Red Sox, Because at the end of the year, he could opt out. And
The
he's
only thing I
probably
would-
going to.
Yeah. The only thing I would question is this: A, you have a bad season, or B, you get an injury. That could hurt these guys. But the fact that none of these sides want to talk about anything and say they don't want to be a distraction, to me, this is a year-long distraction now.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
There's not going to be a Red Sox game that you watch, Ron, that they're not going to talk about Bogarts and the possibility of him being gone, or that they haven't signed Devers. And it's going to be the
Right.
same thing when I watch a Yankee game. They're going to talk about Judge and not having a contract.
And
So
meanwhile,
it's gonna be a
they're all going to
distraction
go
all
to
year.
somewhere else.
Yeah, it's all going to be a distraction. But I just wanted to get that out today. Let's move on to some NHL. I think it's
Watch
NHL.
Judge end up in New York Mets.
Ugh, don't say that.
Look, I'm telling you, you don't think the Mets want to stick it to the Yankees? Seriously.
Why, Ron? Why do you do this to me? Listen,
Just saying.
NHL. Let's talk about Hampson Lindholm.
Hampus?
Hampus, what did I say?
Hampson?
Handsome. Hampus Lindholm. So he was recently injured for the Bruins. Should be able to play tonight. They say it's a game time decision. But would you start to get concerned about the timing and the health of the Bruins, seeing that, the playoffs are right around the corner? There's about 12 games left in the season for the Bees.
No, I think they'll be okay. I think they're going to be overly cautious with Pasternak. I'm actually, out of the 3 injuries that they've recently gotten with Lindholm, Pasternak, and Frederick, I'm a little more concerned about Frederick. Because he's had head injuries. Like, I know of 3 concussions that I know of. And he knew it as soon as it happened. And it was not a big crunching hit. It was just, a little kind of a twist, and his jaw came down and hit the shoulder. And he knew it right away. And you could see his reaction. He just knew. And I'm a little concerned because this kid's got a bright future. I can see this kid getting 20 goals a season. Doesn't seem like, it's only 20 goals. But it's not all that he does. It's like his style of play is so impactful in the game. He brings more to that. And he hasn't even scored that much this year. I project him to be a 20-goal scorer. He's still learning, but the way he is on the ice, you miss that, and you miss a like. I think he's going to bust out in the playoffs if he gets to play.
Here's my one concern, and the reason why I asked the question. We know Marchand, between injuries or
He's missed a lot of
suspensions,
games.
he's missed 11 games this season.
Yep.
Patrice Bergeron, 1 hit away. He's missed 8 games this season.
Yeah.
Lindholm was brought over here to be that stabilizer defensively.
Yeah.
And if he's getting some of these little injuries now, it would be concerning to me because the other 2 guys that you count on the most, besides Pastrnak, right? You need all these guys. Look, if anybody knows hockey, it's you, Ron.
Yeah.
Bruins are just as talented as anybody in this
Absolutely.
league.
Absolutely.
But they also need to have their key guys. They're
Absolutely.
not a team of depth where they can just afford to lose a Marchand
No.
or a Pastrnak or a Bergeron and
And frankly,
now,
no team can.
Yeah.
You lose one
And
of those type
Lindholm's
of
your
players,
best
you're not
defensive
winning
guy.
the championship.
And Lindholm is your best defensive guy.
Yeah.
So McAvoy is not going to be as effective if you don't have Lindholm. So to me, that would be my only concern is the timing of it. You don't want to see guys starting to get these little nagging injuries now.
If it's an injury that is prolonged and hampers, no pun intended.
Hey, hampers. Yeah, that's good.
Hampers their ability to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That is troublesome. Because, look, we know they're either going to play Toronto, Tampa Bay, or, Florida or Carolina. We know.
And all high-scoring teams, yeah.
Look, that it's no easy match.
Yeah.
So you have to have everybody ready. And unfortunately in the NHL, injuries are part of that game.
Yeah. No,
and
absolutely.
So in their case, if they lose a Hampus, that is directly going to affect, your goaltending. It's going to affect your ability to move the puck out of your end, and that cuts down on fast breaks. It cuts down on all of that stuff that you rely on to score goals. So when you lose one of those guys on your back end, you can't just pluck somebody out of the stands and put them in. It's like, oh, we're okay. You can say that as a team. You have to say that as a team.
Up, but yeah.
And frankly, if the Bruins went into the playoffs without getting that kind of a player, I would have still said, okay, we still have a shot. But it's not as a high probability as it is with Hampus Lindholm there. So you can't lose a guy like that because then your chances diminish greatly because of the style that he plays and what he brings to the table. So, and no team can replace that.
No, I agree.
Because he comes out, okay, Riley comes in, who's okay, he can move the puck, but he doesn't have that size, so, defensively, Riley is a little more of a liability. Okay, so then we'll put in Forbert. Well, he's got the size, but he can't bring the puck out. Yeah, so, right. What one do you choose to go without? So that is why Lindholm is so much more important than, it's more important than probably any forward, to be honest with you. And that is any forward.
No, so, pretty amazing. Good stuff. Again, my hockey guy, NHL rankings.
Yeah, it's like, look, so, and I have to say, I don't know if I'd want to play Toronto. Like,
Matthews is definitely becoming 56 goals on the season.
Right now, okay, he is my pick for MVP. I'm not a Toronto Maple Leaf fan by no means, but I know when a team is playing this well, it is dangerous no matter who they play. And they've been steamrolling teams. Their offense is incredible, and that can hide a lot of things.
Right. So, don't play some guys, drop seeds, and try to avoid. No? Okay.
Not in the NHL, they don't.
Not
Because
not anywhere, especially not anywhere, not any sport.
no.
So if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out every Friday night as we are live. We're Fan Interactive. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, all live. You can follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Don't have time to watch, listen to us on Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and now TuneIn. We are on all of those platforms on a podcast. So check us out there. If you're in Southeast Connecticut, SEC TV, Public Access Channel 12. We are on at 10 p.m. on Tuesdays. It is a rebroadcast of our Friday night show. If you enjoy what you're watching, then check us out on Friday nights. Join in. We'd love to have you. We're on Rhode Island Broadcasting every Friday night.
Comments. We interact with you guys.
Comments. And we need some sponsors. If you'd like to sponsor the show and want to sponsor us, reach out to us by email, ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Find out how you could sponsor the show. We would have thousands of eyes on your business, and we'd be able to obviously do some more for our show as well. It would be a great partnership. So let us know if you're interested. Ron, it's face-off time. And this week's face-off is a little different. And I'm not sure if you watched any of the game. Chakra, thanks. Throwing up, is that hamsters? Got some hamsters on there. So the Major League Baseball has
Is that a hedgehog?
I don't. Is it a hedgehog? It might be a hedgehog. So it's not going to show. It's just going to say, yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So they have now allowed an anti sign stealing device that the catches and the pitches. It's a lion. Oh, I see it now. Yes. Okay. Yes, it's
No, you're lying.
No. So the catcher and the pitcher basically have a device. The catcher has a little device on he could keep on his glove or whatever that he can push the buttons. It lets the pitcher know he's got a device in his hat that allows him to hear what the pitch is. So one of us has to be for this, one of us has to be against it. So I am first. So I am going to be for this.
Of course you are.
And I'm going to tell you why I'm for this. I am for this because it's about time that Major League Baseball, I don't got to watch a catcher for 10 minutes flashing fingers.
That's why I said, of course you're for it. Because
right. So I'm watching the game today, the Yankee game, and Higgy has got it right on his knee there, and he's just pushing a button. He covers the glove, push a button, bang, pitch comes.
Yeah.
It literally took like 10, 20 seconds and the pitch is throwing.
Right.
It's not this throw.
That was a difference in the game today.
Right. It makes such a difference.
It was a difference in the game. Red Sox still use the signs. They didn't use the device.
Yeah. And
They're idiots.
I love it. I love the fact that they're doing this. I'm sure at some point there'll be some kind of the pitchers can't hear or something when they're in.
You obviously win this one. You obviously win this because I'm about to give it because look, if the quarterbacks use it with the coaches, why not with a catcher and pitcher? It takes out any possibility of the other team stealing signs and doing all that stuff. Look, this takes all that out. Then, who cares? Who cares? Don't tell me that you're stealing signs now because you're not.
So all I will say is this, though, Ron. At some point, there's going to be another team that figures out how to
tap into that. Yeah, I know. That's going to happen.
Signal. So when that happens, then we'll have the Houston Astros thing all over again. But for the time being, I love it. I thought it was I think it's a great addition to Major League Baseball. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's like, but, let's get the batter in there, again today, 4 hours.
And the weird thing is 15 teams are using it and the other 15 aren't.
The Red Sox are just dumb.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Unless the Red Sox already figured out how to tap into it. So they figured, okay, we're not going to use it.
Well, that's Garrett Cole. That's why, Alex Carr is really good about doing some stuff. And that's why Cole struggled so early on because they were able to figure out what the signal was.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Uh-oh. Stop that controversy. So let's move on to our best segment of the show, and that's our pick and roll.
Pick and
And if
roll.
you don't have time,
did
if
you
you haven't had a
see?
chance, check out our pick and rolls that we've been posting on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Some of these things just turn into massive arguments, which is so much
Yeah,
fun. Now.
I think we're still arguing about episode 2. I think we're
We
still
are.
doing it.
We still are. So today we're going to rank the recent wide receiver trades in the NFL, and we're going to rank these wide receivers based on the success on their new team, not what they've done in the past, where they're going, and how successful they will be from 5 to 1. And the wideouts are Amari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Devontae Parker, and Robert Woods. So those 5 players have been traded from their previous team to now their new team, and we're going to tell you which one of these are going to be most successful to least successful. Actually, flip that, least to most. So I am first. I will start you off, and I am starting off with at number 5, least successful, Amari Cooper. Cleveland Browns last season, 27th in passing attack. Nick Chubb, number 1 option. They're going to run the ball and focus first. And then we don't know who's quarterback yet. Deshaun Watson may get suspended, so he's not going to have a legitimate quarterback in Cleveland. Who knows what's going on with Baker? To me, Amari Cooper's in the worst situation out of these 4. But at number 4, I go Tennessee Titans, Robert Woods. Robert Woods, great receiver, but 24th overall in passing last year, Tennessee. We know what they like to do. Derrick Henry, feed him the rock, and just let him, chalk up almost 2,000 yards if he can stay healthy. They're not going to throw the ball. Tannehill is so inconsistent where he looks good one week, next week he's not so hot. I don't like the quarterback there for him as well. I'm giving him the 4th spot. At number 3, I went Tyreek Hill. I think Miami's going to use, so he's kind of that middle of the ground for me. If they use him in the run game as well, which I feel they're going to do because they're 49er background with McCarthy, who just came over, or McDaniel, who just came over from San Francisco, that same style of offense that they did with Deebo Samuel. You may see Tyreek Hill running the ball more. But Tua only averaged 6.8 yards a pass last season. So we talk about what Tyreek Hill does best. It's the deep ball. I don't know if Tua is going to be able to get him the ball. So I kind of middle of the ground hit him because it could go either way. So at number 2, Devontae Parker. New England Patriots were 14th in the passing last season. Mac Jones, 7.3 yards a throw. I think that he's going to obviously increase on that. And now you're talking about a number 1 legitimate option from New England. He is going to be the number 1 option if he's healthy. So to me, automatically, he's getting more targets thrown at him than any of these other guys. I like Bourne, Myers, Aguilar, but I feel like this is going to be the guy if healthy. So I feel like, and he's already been practicing with Mac Jones. They went down to Miami and started working out. I love it. But that means at number 1, Devontae Adams. I can't see. Look, 6th best passing attack in the league last year. You just added a bigger threat. You added a guy that Derek Carr has already worked with in college. They know each other. They're already going to have some kind of symmetry as to what they want to do. And Derek Carr, all these quarterbacks averaged the most, 7.7 yards a pass last season. Josh McDaniels is going to want to feature this guy because he's never had a true number 1 except for Randy Moss in New England. So he's going to want to throw the ball all day, throw it deep. And I could see Devontae Adams having a massive year this year for the Las Vegas Raiders. So that's how I had it.
You were really close.
Okay. Where was I wrong?
Okay. So number 5, I have Robert Woods.
Okay.
Look, you have Henry there. He's going to get the ball, 80% of the time.
Yep.
So, and then you have to throw the ball to all your receivers to get everybody involved. So I think even though Woods will be a factor in them doing well.
And they got A.J. Brown, who's the best receiver.
It's more of a decoy, to be honest with you. So, just the threat of him being out there is going to make everything wide open. And, they'll have a good year offensively, but it won't be because of him.
And I'm going to be controversial right now, Ron. He's an upgrade from Julio Jones.
Absolutely.
So from a
Absolutely.
standpoint of that point,
No, you're right.
right?
No, that's
So
true.
to me, you're hitting that right on the head with the because he's a better option. So you got AJ Brown and now him.
Yes.
It's going to open up the running game even more, which ultimately hurt
Exactly.
him. But yes,
Right.
I got you.
So, and you might see the tight end be more impactful with the addition of Woods. I know it sounds weird, but Woods' addition makes the tight ends more available, and that's
Yep.
where they're gonna. Because personally, I don't think Tannehill is a good, down the field quarterback. I think dropping it off to those tight ends are going to be perfect for him because they're going to be, one on one, because you can't cover, AJ and Woods and the tight ends. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
So, number 4, I have Amari Cooper.
So you just okay.
Mostly because, look, it's going to be first season for Deshaun Watson if he even plays the season.
Yep, nobody knows.
And I'm about to die here. Hold on.
Don't die on camera.
No.
Okay. The laptop.
The laptop. Right. I didn't plug it in. Okay. We don't know what really the status on Watson's going to be. So for all we know, it could be a disgruntled Baker Mayfield. And
I highly doubt Baker will be there.
I doubt it too. He's probably going to.
Baker's going to be a draft day trade.
Yeah, it's either going, like I said, it's either going to be a draft day trade or he's going to get cut.
Yeah.
So, but we won't know who is the quarterback, because we have to find out, the status on Watson. So for that fact, I put him at number 4. Like if Watson is in there day 1, I think he'll have a better season and he'll be impactful. But there's no proof of that yet. Number 3, I have Tyreek Hill. Just because of his sheer talent, he has to be at least 3. But like you had stated, 6.8 yards. Look, Tua can't throw it more than 15 yards down the field, with accuracy. He can't. And until I see it, that's what I'm going with. So to me, Tyreek Hill is almost a waste on this team. I think he's, just a threat opens up, down low, with a little dump passes. It's going to make that better. And they'll get a lot of yards after the catch that way. But it's not going to be because of Tyreek Hill getting the yards. It's not going to be that because he can't throw downfield. Number 2, I have Devontae Parker. I mean, just his presence in New England is going to be good. You have Hunter Henry, you have Myers, and you have Bourne, and now you're adding this guy to go downfield. He's going to take away Aguilar's job, basically. Aguilar is going to be the new, what's his face, the kid there.
Harry?
Yeah.
Nikhil Harry?
So he's going to be riding the pine and getting in once in a while, and that's going to be about it. So I think, like I said, I think Parker is going to get somewhere around 800, 900 yards. That's what I'm expecting. And to me, that is a gold find, Yeah. And number 1, how could you not go with this guy, Devontae Adams?
That's why receiver.
The other Devontae.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we got a Devontae. They got the other Devontae.
Yeah. Look, this guy is probably the best in the league. You can always argue points back and forth. But, look, you might think you're losing something. Oh, you had Aaron Rodgers throwing to you, but now you had Derek Carr. Well, I don't know if you realize how many yards that Derek Carr threw for last year.
Exactly.
Without that star.
Yeah, I think he was third.
Without having Devontae Adams. You add Devontae Adams in there, it's going to be like Christmas morning every week for this team. Like,
Yeah, they're very good.
I literally can see this team possibly going 16 wins. Seriously, like this is the impact that he's going to have, along with all those defensive players that they just loaded
Yeah.
up on. I,
No.
like, I'm going to be surprised if they lose a game. Seriously.
So great job. I will say this. I think I may change my decision. I forgot one key nugget that we didn't even talk about today. But there's a strong feeling that Tom Brady was going to Miami. And then the Flores lawsuit kind of threw that all up in the air because they weren't able with the owner right now. He was going to have a stake in ownership with the Miami Dolphins and also become their starting quarterback. Tyreek Hill next year with Tom Brady may be more successful. So if we do this list next year, I may have him at number one if Tom Brady's in Miami. I'm just saying that might have changed my thought process in that.
I would be upset if Tom Brady went to Miami.
Yeah. I think a lot of New England fans would basically finally realize that he's no longer a Patriot.
Look, this is the equivalent of
That guy right there, right?
Roger Clemens going to
the Yankees.
To the New York Yankees. Wade Boggs going to the Yankees. Johnny Damon going to the Yankees. That's this.
That is. So again, if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out every Friday night at 6 p.m. We are live. We're fan interactive. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, all on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Listen to us on our podcast on Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and TuneIn. And if you're in Southeast Connecticut, SEC TV, Public Access Channel 12. We are on at Tuesdays, 10 p.m. If you're watching us now, check us out Friday night, 6 p.m. Join into the conversation. Get us some chats. Discord. If you'd like to join our Discord site, that is the Rhode Island Broadcast Discord site. You can see the link right there. And we also have a Sports Unfolded page, and you can join that as well. We post all of our ranking shows, the shows that we do on any specials. We have them all posted up on that Discord site, so you'd be able to watch everything there. So check that out as well. If you'd like to sponsor the show, email us at ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Be a sponsor. Check us out. You'd have thousands of eyes on your business, and you'd be able to help Sports Unfolded and continue to grow. So we appreciate anybody that like to sponsor. That would be something new for the show. We definitely like to get some sponsors on here and be able to do some stuff. So it is, unfortunately, prediction time, which we have not been able to do so well. So I'm going to bring this up here for you. As long as my computer is cooperating, there we go. And this is how we stand, Ron, as we are again. As crazy as it sounds. There it is. And
it's kind of disappointing.
52-45 or 53% winning percentage. Not doing so well, but if you'd like to join in as this as well, comment as you're on and let us know what teams you would pick, and then we can add you to the list. But yeah, we're not doing so hot. But to your point, Ron, we always make sure that we pick some of the tougher games. We don't just sugarcoat it and get them the easiest wins, so we get wins. We're picking the top games of the week.
Yeah, this is not Colorado versus San Jose.
Yeah, we're picking the cream of the crop. So we're going to start off right with the NHL. I am first this week. So on April 8th, so that is tonight.
That is tonight.
The Boston Bruins at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, playoff positioning. This is a crucial game for both teams, and I feel like Tampa Bay, with their experience and being into two Stanley Cup final and winning them, they're going to win this game because they know the importance of it. I'm going Tampa Bay.
Okay, so I have Tampa Bay circled on my list here, only because I know the Bruins aren't going to have David Pastrnak, and it's possible that they don't have Lindholm as well.
Yeah.
So if they are both out, Tampa Bay is definitely winning the game.
Okay. Tomorrow night, Florida Panthers at the Nashville Predators.
Florida. I don't think Nashville is in the same category, to be honest with you. Nashville's a
agree.
pretty good team. They have a couple of
They're a
nice
good
players, but not elite.
Yeah, I agree with you. I went Florida. I think they're a much better team. So April 12th, we have Carolina at the New York Rangers. I know my buddy's a New York Rangers fan, but I'm going Carolina. Carolina's definitely a better team. New York's been too inconsistent.
Well, I'm going New York Rangers.
Ooh, all right.
Like, I really feel that the Rangers need a statement game heading into the playoffs, and this has to be the one. This has to be the one because they are trailing Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they are chasing them, and you have to make a statement now.
Okay, let's see. We're going April 8th in the NBA. Cleveland at Brooklyn. This game here, very important for seeding because Brooklyn now actually could get out of the play-in game. Or no, they become the seventh seed with the win. And so they'd obviously have two opportunities if they lose the first game to get in. So is this my game or your game? This is your game.
Yeah. I went with Brooklyn.
I did as well.
Yeah, I just don't have faith in the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. They are still a year away from really doing something. I think this is a great step for them. But
I also feel like Brooklyn knows now that they flipped the switch.
Yeah,
they know they got to.
They don't want to be the Lakers.
Yeah. So April 10th, the Boston Celtics at the Memphis Grizzlies. I am doing it to myself again. I'm going Memphis this time. I just feel like Ja may play. They're not 100% sure, but he said he's working his way back. And I don't like what Boston did in the last game where they kind of sat some guys. I feel like that may hurt some of the chemistry.
Yeah, and so I got a feeling. Memphis. Yeah, I got a feeling that Brown is going to sit this one out.
Yeah,
and probably
maybe Smart.
Yeah. So without Brown and Smart, then the chances are almost nil. God, they're definitely going to sit out Brown though. I got to go with Memphis. I had Boston circled, but knowing that they're gonna do something stupid,
All right. So then on April 10th, you got Chicago Bulls at Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Ooh, all right. I went Chicago. I think Chicago needs to bounce back here, but before going into the playoffs, so
they could
I feel
be bounced. They could be bounced.
They could be. So very good. All right. And then Major League Baseball makes its debut this year for us. The New York Mets at the Philadelphia Phillies. It's a 3-game series. So basically, we're picking the series, not just one game. They start on April 11th. I went with the New York Mets. They're going to win 2 out of 3.
I went with Philly.
All right. And we just got some word that the NBA playoff games, the Western Conference play-in games have been announced. They're already a lock, no matter what happens the next 2 nights. So we're going to pick those. We got the Wolves at the Clippers.
I like Minnesota.
I went Clippers. Paul George starting to play some really good basketball since he's come back.
Yeah.
Pelicans versus the Spurs. I went with the Pelicans. I just don't. The Spurs to me just have not been a good team. It's just the Lakers were so bad that the Spurs.
Look, and that's why I went with the Spurs. Okay, first of all, you got Pop. In the playoffs.
Okay,
I'll take that. And just them riding a high right now that they made the playoffs and the Lakers are out. That they got to be. At least this game they will be on a high.
All right, awesome. So we got 5 games that are different. 5 different games. So somebody's winning next week. All right. So as we normally do, how we end our show, we do our final thought. And our final thought doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It could be about anything going on in the world today. I am first this week, so I am going with my final thought on the WNBA. This Monday will be the WNBA draft. It's an exciting time for a lot of these female college athletes that have been so good in college and now get an opportunity to go to the pros. It's probably one of the least advertised events when it comes to a draft, when we talk about, the NFL and what they do in the NBA. But I hope people tune in on Monday and just see some of these women be able to fulfill their dream of, making it to the pros. I think it's a great, great opportunity for us to start to learn some of the players and where they're going. So it'll give us an opportunity to be able to follow the WNBA a little more frequently. But that was my final thought.
All right. Ooh, kind of all choked up.
Well, that's all right, buddy.
What's the player from South Carolina that's going to go number one?
I forget her name.
She was phenomenal. I watched that game, and she was just dominating. If she doesn't go number one, I'll be surprised. My final thought, and I cannot actually believe I'm actually going to say this, goes out to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I called you out, last week? Or the week before?
Yeah, against the Bruins, yeah.
And you went in, you did what you're supposed to do, and you got out of Boston. Then you went into other cities in those top contenders, and you got out. Win, 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 win. Look, you know what you have to do. The whole world is going to be looking at you whether or not you're going to collapse in the playoffs. Personally, I hope you lose when you play the Bruins. But, go in, play your game. Be who you are. You know what you are. You know who you are. Now you have to be that. You have to come out of this with something to show for it. Because if not, nobody is ever going to look at you as a serious contender. You have to win at least one round. If you don't, it's back to the drawing board, and you got to do it right next time, because I don't see it happening either. But, I'm giving a little faith to you as Toronto Maple Leafs.
I think you were trying to be positive and somehow undercut it.
I did. I know, because I'm a Bruin fan. So
I got you.
And chances are they're going to have to meet.
Exciting times. Look, NBA playoffs start next weekend. NHL playoffs are about 2 weeks away. So we've got a lot of playoffs coming up on the show. Playoffs. I want to thank everybody that's watched today. Chakra, Kenny, thank you for joining tonight. Fans out there that are going to watch afterwards, check us out live and join in, man. We'd love to get some viewers to come in and challenge us, man.
Man, come on.
Challenge us. Are we that? You know what it is, Ron? We are so good at what we do. Everyone's afraid to just come at us because they know. That's what it is. So I challenge fans out there. If you're a sports fan and you really want to get involved, chime in. This ain't a talk show radio where you got to wait hours to get. You can get in instantly, and we'll comment on it.
Oh, so absolutely. So when I think you're wrong, you're going to be wrong, but
exactly, and we'll tell you. But I want to thank you for your time tonight, Ron. I didn't even do my point today, buddy. My co-host there. Co-host, look at you. So you take care. I hope you're feeling up to snuff for next week. We got a lot going on. NHL rankings next week.
Hey, are we doing a NBA playoff thing?
NBA playoffs next Saturday is the plan. We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right, my friend. You have a great night, fans out there. Let's have some peace in this world.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is your favorite show, Sports Unfolded, with your favorite host, Eric and Ron.
Now I guess we got to do a whole nother show.
Oh, we got to start over again.
Welcome, everybody.